Dark Shadows, number 39, VTR 21667, Air 22367, take one.
My name is Victoria Winters, and we have been touched by forces from another world. Forces we do not know or understand. We know only that some fierce battle is raging, and Collinwood is its battleground. And fear continues to grow as the boundaries that separate the land of the living and the land of the dead become more and more obscure.
But, Pete, I came out here especially to hear that tape of the seance.
Well, I should have called you and saved you the trip.
Don't tell me you erased it by mistake.
No. The tape was perfectly all right. Every word of the seance was recorded.
Then what went wrong?
Listen.
What?
Listen, what sound do you hear?
Fire?
That's right, fire. The voices are gone, and in their place, the crackling of flames. The sounds of fire. First, I thought I picked up some kind of static. But that sound, it's unmistakable.
That's the sound of fire, all right.
Well, then don't tell me I made some kind of mistake, like putting the mic in the fireplace.
Every last word lost.
I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. Any force that's powerful enough to do some of the things that have been happening around here lately and would find a job like that no trouble at all.
Pete, don't you attach some special significance to the fact that it was replaced by the sounds of fire?
Well, indeed I do. If I can only fit all the pieces together.
You think you'd get a life-size portrait of Laura Collins, don't you?
I wouldn't be surprised. But what does it all mean? The fires and the portraits. David's dreams about himself and his mother and the flames. Those ancestors of hers that died in fire. Not to mention that woman who was burned to death in Phoenix.
Oh, by the way, that case is being closed today.
Well, they finally identified the body?
No, they've decided they have no hope of ever finding out who it is. They can't help insisting that it has to be Laura Collins.
But they can't do that.
No. Lieutenant Riley's down in Phoenix now with records, medical tests, affidavits, proving that Laura Collins is alive and is here at Collinwood.
How can they close a case when it's so far from being solved?
Oh, of course, the case can always be reopened if new evidence warrants it, but at least this way they can give the body a burial.
They haven't buried it yet?
No, it's been in the morgue all this time. Maybe now, whoever it is, can at least have a decent grave.
Well, I hope I don't have to close out this case without a solution.
What are you talking about?
Everywhere I turn, I feel I'm just on the verge of some new discovery or insight. And then something like this happens.
Pete, how sure are you that Laura Collins is responsible?
Fairly sure. But you know, maybe she has a power that she doesn't know anything about. Or maybe she's in touch with a force that acts out her hostilities without her even knowing about it. Or
what?
Well, there's a possibility that in some way or other, a way I can't even begin to explain, Laura Collins is the force herself, and she's acting willfully.
Is that what you really think?
Frank, I don't know what I think. I'd just like to begin to get some results.
You have.
What?
Well, they're results of a kind, anyway.
What are?
I talked to Dr. Landers down in Boston this morning. He gave me his report on Mrs. Stoddard's condition.
What have you heard about my mother?
Now, Carolyn, just calm down.
What have you heard? Tell me, is she any better?
Yes, she's better.
She is.
Now, just hang on a second,
Does that mean I
Carolyn.
can see her? Does it mean she'll come home soon?
Look, maybe better isn't exactly the right word.
What do you mean?
Well, maybe improved. Very slightly improved is the way I should have put it.
Improved in what way?
Well, according to Dr. Landers, her pulse rate and her temperature are much closer to normal.
Can she speak, though?
No. As a matter of fact, she still isn't even able to move.
Can't move, can't speak.
I shouldn't have let you get your hopes up, Carolyn. I'm sorry.
Please, let me go see her.
What would the point be?
Maybe she'd recognize me. Maybe seeing me would help her in some
Carolyn.
way.
Carolyn, I'd prefer, and I'm sure Dr. Landis would agree, that to see anyone who reminded her in the remotest way of Collingwood.
But I'm her daughter.
I know. And I hope that you'll be able to see her soon.
When?
Well, I don't know that yet, but even knowing this much, she should improve steadily now.
You sound rather sure of yourself, Pete.
No, I'm not sure of that, Frank, but even this slight improvement shows one very important thing.
What's that?
We may not have diagnosed Mrs. Stoddart's illness, but I think we've detected its source.
We knew that a long time ago. My Aunt Laura.
We don't know that specifically. But the one thing we do know is what seems to affect her in the most positive way.
And what's that?
Distance. Distance from Collingwood. We know now that the source of the illness is here.
Frank and Dr. Guthrie have gone for a walk around the grounds, but they should be back very soon.
Well, I guess I can find him.
No, I don't think so.
What do you mean?
Well, you might be walking in opposite directions and never even know it.
Didn't he say where they were going?
No, but you can wait for them here.
Well, I'd leave the papers here for him to sign, except that I'm supposed to get him back to the office as soon as I can.
Well, then you might as well wait in the drawing room where you'll be comfortable.
Okay, thanks.
How have you been? All right?
Oh, sure. You?
Not so hot.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. How's your mother?
Improved,
Oh, yeah?
but not very much.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear it.
They still won't let me see her, Joe.
That must be kind of rough on you.
Oh, I'm used to feeling kind of bad, but always before my mother was here, I always had someone I could turn to. You know, like my mother.
Well, remember last time I told you we were kind of friends, didn't I?
I know.
Well, then.
No, I can't do it, Joe. It wouldn't be fair.
Oh, what do you mean it wouldn't be fair?
I always turn to you when I need you.
Well, if I'm your friend,
You really are a friend, aren't you, Joe?
well, as a matter of fact, I don't know. Try me.
Seems all I ever did was try you.
Now, why don't we start a Be Nice to Carolyn Stoddard Club?
Oh, that sounds like a pretty exclusive club. Not too many members, I'm sure.
Only the best types.
Oh, well, they would have to be. You know, patient, understanding, forgiving. Like you, Joe.
I'm not sure I am. That's why I said try me. Look, if there's anything I can do for you.
You already have.
Oh?
For a few minutes, I felt like I wasn't all alone.
You really miss your mother, don't you?
Yes. But I've missed you too, Joe. I know I don't have any right to say this, but... Well, it never occurred to me that I would want you, need you. and you wouldn't be around. That's how selfish I am.
Well, I'm here now.
I know. And in a way, that's enough.
I have to warn you, though, it's strictly friendship, right?
Right. And I'm grateful, Joe. I really am.
Hey, now, Cookie, now you take it easy.
Oh, I've been alone for so long. It seems like so long now. I know I should stop acting like a little girl, but I can't help it.
Come here. Come here.
I'll be all right.
I said, come here. Okay, now put your head right here. It's okay, it's what you need.
I don't understand.
It's what you need now. You just have a good cry.
Oh, Joe.
And that is that.
I thought I'd see the day.
Yeah, I must say I'm relieved.
Well, so am I. Well, I guess we'll have to settle for that.
Yeah, we could have kept at it until we went out of our minds, but what would be the point?
I'm with you there, Lieutenant. This case is finished, closed, over with, done.
We hope.
No, Lieutenant, I've never been a drinking man, but this case very nearly converted me.
Did the opposite with me. When those medical records came from back east saying that Laura Collins was alive, even though the body in the fire checked out so completely. You want to know something?
If it's about Laura Murdoch Collins, no.
No, this isn't about the real Mrs. Collins, the one that's alive in Maine.
You mean you consider the woman in the morgue to be the unreal Mrs. Collins?
Exactly. That's what I was going to tell you.
Oh, come on.
Well, it's not by preference. Believe you me, I can't help it.
You can't help what?
Try as I might, I cannot think of that woman in the morgue as identity unknown. I cannot believe that she is not the real Laura Collins, no matter what the proof is.
I make it a policy to go as far as the evidence goes and no further.
So do I. Only don't forget, I lived with positive proof there for a while that that was Laura Collins, and I cannot let it go.
Then I suggest you read this over.
I have. Again and again. It didn't do any good. Well, time will take care of it.
Let's hope so. Well, Lieutenant, can't say it hasn't been weird.
Where do you think you're going?
Going to the airport, then home just as fast as the fastest jet can take me there.
Ah, but you're not through yet.
What do you mean?
The body hasn't been released for burial.
What's that got to do with me?
Didn't I tell you?
What?
Well, you identified the body. So the morgue requires your affidavit that the body that they are releasing for burial is not the same body that their records show to be Laura Collins.
But you've got the whole thing right there.
Those are our records. You may be sure that the morgue has its own interminable forms for you to sign.
So the moment has not yet come when I can say to myself in a loud, clear voice, I'm through with this case.
Not yet, I'm afraid.
Lieutenant, I have a strange feeling. A very strange feeling. That this case isn't really closed. It has a life of its own. A life that's beyond us. Way beyond us. I don't think we can settle it just by putting our names on a couple of pieces of legal paper.
Can't we? We'll see about that. Come on, the morgue is right downstairs.
I don't like to talk about it too much, and Dr. Guthrie asked me not to, but I can't help it, Joe. I'm sure my Aunt Laura is responsible for everything that's happened at Collinwood, including my mother's illness.
Can I ask you something?
Sure. What?
Well, you know how it is in this town. You hear all kinds of things.
What have you heard now?
Well, this Dr. Guthrie, he's really a doctor, huh? I mean, a psychologist, is that what he calls himself?
Yes. Why?
Oh, well, you know, you hear all kinds of things.
Like what?
Well, that he's really a cop.
A cop?
You know, something to do with your Aunt Laura and that woman that died in Phoenix.
Oh, I wish in a way you were a cop. And that you'd get some evidence against her.
But he's not?
No. Whatever made anyone think that?
Oh, I guess the way he's been asking people questions, like the time he went to Sam Evans about the paintings.
But that's part of his work. He's trying to track down all these unexplained things that have been happening. And those paintings were certainly a part of it.
Well, he certainly had old Sam shook up. Poor Maggie, she had quite a rough time with it. Sam was sure he was a cop. And more than one night, it took both of us to get him home from the Blue Whale.
Yes. Maggie certainly is lucky she has you around to help.
You know that I've been seeing Maggie.
Of course I know.
And there's no reason why I shouldn't mention it when I'm talking to you, is there?
No. There's no reason why you shouldn't mention her anytime you want to. After all, we are friends, aren't we?
Are we? It's got to be up to you.
Lieutenant Costa. Yes, he's right here.
Hello. Oh, yes, Mr. Garner. Yeah, well, your office told me where you were. I thought I'd give you a call and let you know what's going on out here.
Look, is the case officially closed?
Yes, we just signed the morgue papers. That releases the body for burial. That does it.
Well, I don't know whether to feel relieved or what. Well, I hate to leave it unsolved.
So do I, but I prefer it this way to letting it go on indefinitely with no hope of an answer.
Well, I guess you're right. Thanks for calling.
Not at all. Oh, will you tell Mr. and Mrs. Collins?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Garner. Bye.
Okay, goodbye. Well, that's that. Riley says that things are finished in Phoenix.
Well, you may be relieved, but I'm certainly not.
Oh, Carolyn, now what would have been the point of dragging this case out? Couldn't possibly lead anywhere.
It might have proved something against my Aunt Laura.
Carolyn, we're not trying to prove anything for or against anybody. We're trying to help your mother. That's our first and last goal, isn't it?
I suppose so.
Look, Carolyn, if Mrs. Collins had been implicated in that death in Phoenix, it might have diverted all our efforts here. I think we should be glad it's over.
Maybe you're right. But when are we going to prove something against her? When?
Would you look at this?
What?
Read what's there.
Laura Murdoch Collins?
Yeah, they didn't change it back to identity unknown.
Well, probably just as confused as the rest of us.
I wish they'd be a little more careful. Besides, I don't like seeing that name there like that. Makes me think we're back where we started.
Don't mention it.
I wondered who the poor woman really is. There's always something sad about an unidentified grave.
Wait just a minute. I'm feeling a little squeamish.
I don't blame you. A body that's been burned to death is not a pretty sight.
Now, what's the trouble?
I don't know. I don't understand this.
You opened the wrong one.
No, I didn't. This is the right one. The body's gone.
Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.